All right, my friends, welcome to the show. One of my favorites, times of the week. We get to see who's graduated and why. And Kraai, you need to fix your situazione, buddy. You need to fix your situazione. There it goes. Okay. So, Quadexy is going to be in the chat. Pepper Chess has to leave us, but he says Pepper Chess is going to graduate next week. We got many graduates today. So let's try to get into it. First of all, we got MJ. MJ has already graduated twice. Let's take a look. Look at that rating graph, dude. Boom. We're going to follow MJ. These are our new dojo graduation symbols. Everything's evolving at the dojo. Everything's evolving. All right, let's take a look. That looks pretty good. We're going to go back one. How did they do it? They did it with tactics, my friends. What kind of tactics? Everyone's first chess workbook. People loving that thing. That's great, dude. That's great. So let's take a quick look. We do got something here. A little bit weird that we have two games, but none with the same. Maybe it's like one is at Lee Chess and the other's not. So this is MJ, and let's just take a look. This is looks like a 30-minute game. Okay. Now, I am very much prejudiced against this kind of analysis, so let me rant a little bit. What happened was, this is the computer analysis. That's what happened. And it looks like this is like the Lee Chess computer analysis, where it's just doing it for dude here. So, not a good analysis, but let's just say MJ is progressing up the ranks. They're doing a lot of tactics, and they need to do some game analysis. But, look, when you're at this level, the most important thing is just to keep working, and MJ is clearly going to be progressing fast from this point. All right, you know what I need to do, too? I need to go... See, just so I find this quicker, I need to go view all, and that's recent. So I'm just gonna try to save that. Next up, we got Andrea Arf. And Andrea Arf, a massive change. And this is USCF, great. I like this a lot because usually in these lower cohorts, people are using like a ChessCom rating. There's their ChessCom rating. And one thing actually I've noticed, and it is that the over-the-board ratings have been significantly lower than the online ratings, which leads me to suspect that maybe this deflation thing that we're talking about on a global scale might be happening. And it's one of the reasons I'm going to insist we do a new rating calibration for Dojo 3.0, which is going to be May of this coming year. Hi, Abdul. All right, so let's go activity. So we got that going on. Good. And we're looking at a lot of tactics. We're looking at a lot. Good. And I think what I need to do, though, is I need to go back one, because that's what Andrea did to get here. And still a lot of tactics, which is fine, especially for this cohort. If you were going to ever be tactics heavy, this would be the under 1,000 section would be the place to do it. If you're ever going to do it by playing quicker games, like our blunder games, which are 15-minute games, this would be the place to do it. At what age did I become GM? I was like 34 or something like that. We've got one game. This will be at the Marshall Chess Club. Beautiful. Andy 196. All right, let's see. I was just looking to see if we get a time control, but I don't see it yet. Game 45 plus 5. Okay, good. Now, I just want to say this cannot be dubious. It does. No, Bishop G5. You're fine. You're fine, buddy. And this move, I kind of like even, because you're saying, well, if they take my bishop, I'm not losing development. by moving it. The normal move here would be like bishop f4, bishop h4. And then this is a key mistake because now your bishop that kind of needed to move after knight e4 gets to do so for free. Good move. Good move. Now I just want to stress the development we're seeing on this side from white I like a lot. What are we up? We're up time. I'm writing this interesting, for me it's interesting, book, really. It's a book called How to Analyze Your Games, and I'm using the cohort games, so some of the best annotations from the dojo in that book. And, one of the things I say is that it's not hard to learn time, especially in the opening. So you see, like, Andy's just going boom, 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 and the opponent is just giving tempis away right and left. They're not giving away material, but they're giving away tempi. And then learning how to prosecute that somebody who's giving away time is one of the important skills. Like right now, how do we use our extra time? And even for me, this would be a difficult decision. H3 is almost always useful. C4 is interesting, and it's unclear, mostly to get the queen out. You could also just play like a dummy and play queen e2, That's a little bit of Baltimore slang for you there, calling people dummies. C5, C3, E4. We're going to call that spicy, maybe even a good move. Opponent ignores it. Now, by the way, this is where I think we definitely needed some variations, okay? So to discuss what would you do on CD? Big question for me, big question. I was imagining that your intention might have been e5, but then we have the tactical problem of knight h5 hitting the bishop. And then in this position, I think black could be okay. And so one of the things actually I said in this thing I'm writing is that at the lower levels, what we're observing in the database is that there are less variations. Oftentimes very good descriptions, but less variations. And this is clearly a tactical moment where we're going to need to, talk a little bit about what's going on. Good. And knight f3, definitely, though I understand why you did it, I think, in that you really want your pieces to be moving out quickly. And then the other thing I'm saying in this thing I'm writing is that the lower cohorts really where the games are being decided pretty much universally is people giving away stuff. So here we're giving away this pawn. Knight d7, probably the best move. And I would have wanted you to evaluate c takes to see what would happen. This would be a variation, for example. It's not entirely clear to me what's happening. Right? In fact, maybe a good tactic to see would be this one. Bam! And then this bishop's going to be hanging in this variation. Okay, however, let me just say, for the level you are at, right here, boss, fantastic, typical tactics. You're missing something, fine. Okay. Boom, this was a counting mistake. Okay, you still needed to say what you needed to do. For example, queen takes d5, right? And for that reason, black should have taken this way. Okay? Now, when you give yourself a double exclamation or double question mark, realize you're kind of in a little bit of a spot here anyway. So this isn't necessarily the mistake, right? The mistake has already happened. Okay. Now, black is all of a sudden playing very simple and good chess. Rook c1. And here you could have at least tried to gotten rid of your bad pawn with this one. Okay. Okay. Good move by black. Black's playing great, by the way. Black is playing genius level. And now we're toast, yeah. Dang, you're playing somebody kind of strong here, son. Dang. Whoa. You're playing a real madman here. Oh, dang, dude. Dang. I just want to say that you did not play against 1,000 rated player there. That was a strong player you were facing. Too fast, thingy process not as systematic as it could be. I need to play more slow games paying attention to this. Yeah. And I think I had better opening preparation. Okay, I don't know what that means. I mean, I feel like you just moved your pieces out, and I thought, I wouldn't say preparation. I thought your opening principles were much better, right? You get to this position, and this is something I said. I said, after you get past 1,000, people won't give you material like this person doesn't, but they will give you time, right? Black already has given you significant amounts of time. Let's count it out. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 2, but it's our move, right? So let's call 5 versus 2. You're up 3 tempi. In my lingo, that's being up a pawn. Okay? 3 tempi is worth a pawn. So, do you have somebody to Kindlefy the book? Yes. In fact, the first thing we did is DM Hoki has gotten the first book out, which is going to be our score book. And, it's a whole learning curve to figure out how to, publish books on Amazon and stuff. And so he's getting into that. And then this is going to be our next project. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that done. All right, let's see if Kraai can figure this out here. Boom, boom. Here it is, our recent graduates. Next up, we have Steven. This looks like a performative one in that they've gone up, but there's no activity, and they probably just joined. That's what I expected, right? So, Steven, we hope to see you again soon. And now we're going to look at G-Star. Look at that. G-Star has graduated several times. Yeah. I think, by the way, these new icons are new. And I think the green ones are like under 500. And then this one seems to be 5.6 and this one's 6.7. So that's totally cool. So let's look at G-Star. Now G-Star is in the right cohort. Okay, let's check out the activity. And if we go back one, some tactics. And maybe we're going to find a game from G-Star. Lots of games. Good. That's what I like to see, G-Star. That's great, man. Let's take a look. Nope, nothing in there. That is not a game annotation. Do not submit that to the database, my friends. G-Star, shame! Feel shame, G-Star. That's not the way it's done, Bows. No, G-Star, no, don't do it, buddy. Okay, G-Star. So you're in the right cohort. A game annotation means you look at the game. Okay, you look at it. Okay, now we're going to get some great comments in the next couple graduations here. So first off, we have Ancestral Synth, and Ancestral says, I'm happy that the first weeks in the dojo have already paid off, and I'm ready to move to the next level. Unfortunately, I didn't have too much live interaction, sparrings, games with other dojo members yet, but I would love to fix this in the future. I think that the social aspect of the program is one of the most important, and I would love to see more occasions to bring dojo members together, no matter if it's a tournament or pre-booked hours in the calendar to play, review games, or lectures by the senseis, even at extra cost. Yeah, actually, I want to throw this in there just as an idea, but we were thinking maybe we could do, I was thinking that a cool thing to do would be to have some kind of, it would be at a cost, but it would be like, let's say 5 people in a cohort, maybe over a range of 2 cohorts. You can imagine 1,800 to 2,000. And for 5 weeks, we would review a game of each of those players And it would be a group discussion, but obviously in the week in which that player's game was up, they would speak more. And then, of course, those same players would have the opportunity to look at the games among themselves before, let's say, I or Kostya or David looked at it with them in this kind of group environment. I think that would be cool. And then because the cost would be spread out among 5 people, it would hopefully not be too incredible, right? So anyway, that's just an idea. I understand that the program is meant to be self-paced, but I'm sure having more events in the calendar with the idea, try to be there at a specific time would increase engagement. Totally agree. From the practical aspect, I didn't get to train my middle game much, but I will try to do this in the next cohorts and get back to reviewing the games from 6 to 7. Great. Okay, let's take a look at Ancestral Synth. That is indeed a nice rating gain, and good. They're at where they should be. And here we go. Boom. Activity. So they've just, actually, I want to check this out. Right, activity. They've joined fairly recently. So yeah, a lesson, let's say a couple weeks in the dojo. And that's the way it should look. That's the way it should look. So let's look at their tactics. Beautiful. Yeah, great. So then we're going to see if there's some games. And let me just click on this one. This one, I'm just trying to see like why the name is different, just make sure it's okay. So here we go. Fine. Poor. Okay. So, I like these notes so far. Yeah, take with the pawn. And I like this one too. I'm so happy that you didn't play c3, because c3, unnecessary, and you need to get your people out. Bishop e4, what's wrong with that? You're getting more time. It's not a developing move. Knight b4, what's wrong with that? It's not a developing move. Now this move is very frisky for you to take. Black isn't threatening anything. You could play castle short, for example. You could play knight c3. They're not threatening anything. So when you take, though, now we create a crisis. And when you trade, you develop their rook. And now you do this. And you say this is a mistake, but honestly, that looks pretty scary to me, folks. Because they're getting your rookski. Okay, now, because what's happened? They got their pawn back. And now the game is not crushing, because before you were totally winning. Now, I agree that knight b3 is just giving the knight away for free. In essence, what it's really doing is losing time. And the one question would be, well, how do I, being black, save my pawn? And I think f5 is the way. So knight b3. Again, they're going to give you time. Great move, king e3. Snip, snap, and definitely I want you to take with the knight. See, the knight is the move, because you will then be touching this coconut over here. Okay, king. Good, good. Okay, d5, good move. Oh, he lets you in. Oh, look at that, Bows. Look at that. That's a pawn chain now to be proud of. Let's play king f5, please. Come on, let's see it. Ooh. Let's play king f5, please. Let's see it. Ooh. So why do I want you to play king f5? Because the king will be active there, and the next move, we can play the knight in. All right, let's see how this goes. Bad move. They definitely can't be giving you the bishop. Good move. Okay. I just want you to, I just want to say, like, if you win this, you get this thing. Okay, I can't complain too much. That's unreasonable. That's unreasonable. Bang! That's unreasonable. All right, Ancestral Synth, great. We are seeing, my friends, very high-level games in the under 1,000 cohort. very reasonable, you know? Like the level is just much higher than you would expect. Okay, so boom, boom. Ancestral Synth, congratulations. I'm going to hit the follow button. You can follow anybody in the program and see what they're doing on the news feed. This is JT. I've enjoyed the structure provided by the program, played chess off and on most of my life, but never really had any idea of actually learning about the game. My boss got me back into playing about 6 months ago, and I was improving by playing games, watching some vids, and going through the ChessCom learning course, but it was very haphazard. Dojo course give me structure and discipline. Nice. Good. That's a good number right there, 80. That means you've done a lot of work, JT. Let's check it out. That's a nice graph, too. That's a nice graph. Okay, good job. Let's click the follow activity. And I want to go back one, and there it is. Actually, one of the things I can tell Jack did is it used to be that in that last frame that you saw, you would see the number of dojo points that they had for the one cohort that they were in, and now he changed it to the last one, which I thank him for that, because that way, we can instantly have a sense of how much work they did to get to the next level. And this is what it should look like. Basically, no openings, some tactics, some going over the games. Great. Great. Look at that thing. So let's see. I have a feeling we're going to have a game here. This is JT. Was looking for a 60-minute game and open challenge for a 90-minute game by someone at my level. Great. Okay. And we're going to get, you guys, this will be really interesting. We're going to get the times too, which will be very interesting to see if people are rushing. In general, as my experience, we'll see if this is confirmed. If you play some rando online at a slow time control, they will treat it often as if it were a blitz game, which first of all, it's obviously makes playing online feel a little dumb, but it's also a huge practical advantage if you have the ability to sit and think, because basically you're the one playing at a long time control and they're just playing blitz. Fine. And then you have an interesting choice, and you could have played bishop b5 here or just pushing. Good. And then this is a clear mistake. Now, your opponent actually did think a little bit here. They've been thinking a little bit. Good move. And you have a crushing position. Now, this, I'm not going to say anything about it. As long as you develop, I'm not saying anything about it. Okay. It's getting a little spicy. Yeah. And then c5. Again, not developing. They should castle. Good. And then this is a bad move. Okay. But I will say you do have your motivations for doing it. So maybe I'm even going to take it back. Maybe I'll eat my words, But you've got such a nice position here. And when you take that thing, you free up so much of Black's raw potential in the position. And Queen e7 is obviously a terrible move because they need to try to find a way to knock you out. And they might find a way because your dark squares are loose. And I would just say the move to analyze here, the move I'd be scared of is Queen b6, touching this coconut, and maybe having enough counterplay. Am I sure about any of this? No, but I'm just saying if I'm white here, I'm a little concerned. The tables could be turned. So, yeah, Quad XC is reporting the same experience. So take the queen, buddy. Not only because you want to trade, but because the bishop on f6 is a very strong piece. Good, simple chess. Simple chess. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, sir. That's good chess right there, JT. And you're even doing fine on time. Very good. Good move, good recapture. Simple chess. Check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable pawn. That's fancy. That's fancy. Boom, boom. Opponent rage quit. Wait a second, dog. You played some fancy stuff at the end there. Dang. So JT, who's only in the 600 to 700 cohort, playing some good chess. Did I disagree with any of these actual decisions, for example? I didn't like bishop f6, but otherwise, that was some good chess, dude. Yeah. There it is. There it is, my friend. JT's clearly going to go up a level here. Okay, we're going to see JT soon. So that was JT. Surprisingly, their first graduation. That was a hell of a game. So, now we got Super Nick. 15-10 games on Lead Chess and longer classical games, as well as a focus on doing tactics regularly, have helped me a lot. Playing an over-the-board tournament was an eye-opening and rewarding experience for me as well. It provided hours of practical experience and study material. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You're preaching it, Super Nick. Let's look. Playing chess for a year and a half. Great. This is okay. A little weird. I don't understand when the rating graph goes like that. I don't understand. It's almost like maybe, I don't know, maybe something's going on that I don't understand. In any case, let's take a look. We're going to follow Super Nick here, and then let's just see how long Super Nick's been at it. Good. So Super Nick been doing some good work. Yeah. Tactics, looking good. Going back, some endgame and some games and analysis. Great. The blunder games, if you don't know what the hell that means, oh, don't talk in the vulgar tone, Kraai. You know what that means? It just means that we are encouraging people under 1,000 to play quicker games, such as 15-minute games, where they're just afterwards, it's not annotating it, they're just looking to see where pieces were blundered. Okay, so let's take a look at the games. Oh, and I definitely want to see the over-the-board tournament. So here Super Nick is playing a 1,020 player, so really somebody, let's say 200 points above them in the USCF. The Mobile Open, nice. And maybe eventually Super Nick could imagine changing his preferred rating to USCF. Fine, fine, fine. And generally, we'll say this is a mistake to take because you lose your central power. And then we're also going to say that that's an important mistake. Now, let's talk about why. This is a little bit positional, okay? But it might feel clear after I say it. So when you play d5, you kill your bishop and open this one. It's as simple as that, right? You also, the knight on c6 is kind of a chump, so you're allowing them to play something like knight e5 to free their situation. So a better move might be bishop e3 to hold that point, or even this ridiculous h3. And I know I've been talking about development, but the point of h3 would be to say, hey, Baus, I want to make sure I hold this point down, so I don't want to allow bishop g4. Holding that point down will kill those pieces. So this is a very typical mistake that you'll see. Okay. Good. Now, one of the things I want to stress, first of all, in the under 1,000 level, it's not going to be the positional stuff that I just mentioned that's going to decide or even influence the game. It's going to be tactics, such as happens here. Also, what we want to say is that when your opponent doesn't develop, that's when you should especially look for something like this. Black, luckily for them, has this move so they don't lose completely immediately. But he's still toast because this pawn is angry. Now I think they got to take. Boom. Good move. Knight h6. Knight b3. And they missed that. Sorry, buddy. Nice move. Okay. So look at this for a second. Super Nick, who's only been playing chess a while, is at this tournament and is crushing a 1,000 player. And they're doing all the right things, too. Simple chess. We'll trade it off. Fine. Dang, Super Nick. Take it easy. Take it easy, Super Nick. Oh, dang. Absolute pins and relative pins are different. A simple guide. Great, dude. Great. The dojo's coming to your town, coming to mobile, and they're killing people. Killing people. So Super Nick, you're doing good. And I love that you're annotating your USCF games. That's really nice. Okay, let's go back to recent. And next up, we got Lutyek. Adult Improver, Chess Punk, Fisher fan, living in the Netherlands. Nice. So, let's follow Lutyek. And we got some good gains. And let's look at the activity. So actually, usually this means they joined around the beginning of October. So, great to have Lutyek here. And we want to go back one. Oh, that's some good work. That's some good work. And also a really good breakdown, you know, very little opening. Then we got the games, we got the tactics, endgame. Beautiful. I like 2. There's some Polgar mates in 2 in here. I have a feeling at that level it's probably was a challenge to do those. So that's really great. Also, you did the 1s. Fantastic. Right? Okay. Good. Let's take a look at the games. Lutyek. This is a club game. Now, one of the cool things I want to say about the Europeans in our dojo is they just have a natural advantage to more access to over-the-board games. Like this is a club game. So it's a great way if you don't have, like a lot of our American players have just this simple complaint that they can't imagine even going to a tournament for a weekend. Sometimes traveling maybe, but if you're like, your dad or something, can you get one night off for, once in a while to go play a club game? Yeah. So here it is, 90 plus 10. Fine. Now, one of the things I'm writing in this treatise on how to analyze your games is that the opening theory, in a way, becomes a crutch to not getting a real sense for how opening principles work, right? So already this queen d3, it's pretty high, it's pretty fancy, let's say, right? So here we go, pop. And this position is interesting to me because it is like a French McCutcheon, but unclear the bishop belongs on f4, unclear the queen belongs on d3. c5, good move. a3. c4, I'm not sure of. And yeah. So what should black do? To me, the obvious question is bishop takes c3, but there's also this move. That move I find also highly annoying. And one of the things I want you to see, Lutyek, is by playing this fancy pants opening, you're suddenly in a situation, well, I don't know if you're lost or anything, but you're definitely worse, This is what happens when things get too fancy. You're absolutely right, though, that this is incorrect. And one thing to understand about the position is this is now a French structure where black has lost the friction on your central point, which is, in a lot of ways, the point of the whole French, right? Queen h3, good. Queen e3 also possible. Now we need a good move. f3. Now, do I feel good about f3? I don't. I don't. I don't feel good about it. I'll tell you how I would have done it. First of all, I would have played queen e3, bishop a5, and then castles. And then ask the knight what it wants, right? Is it a dangerous position for us? Yes, it is. But now see with the way it goes down, now again we are down in development. So knight takes, and now queen b6 happens. And right, you're the one in trouble. You're the one in trouble, mostly because you're down in time. Castles, I definitely think they should take. Setting up a cheap trick, good. I approve. 92, okay. And now Gerard wants to go for it with queen c7. Okay. I don't like it. So black needs to understand that they have to, first of all, not make pawn moves on their weak side of the board. So b5, b4 would be interesting right away. Good, at least it's a good question. g4, good move. g5, it's appropriate. Snip, snap. What have you done? You've opened the position. Rook g1, very nice. f5. Black resigns. Yeah, but I think he's already in big doo-doo, because if they can't play f5 and they do rook g8, you're talking about bishop h6, which certainly looks interesting, but this move looks deadly. You know, that move looks like we're gonna kill. Yeah, that's the end. The end. Voomp, voomp, voomp. You know, or it's death. Check or something. He's going to lose everything. All the pieces are going to be hanging. Okay, so Luchek, great game, dude. You're clearly getting there. Clearly getting there. Okay, so we'll go back to the business. Yeah, dude, the dojo's getting stronger. They're just getting stronger. Let's just say that. Rora says, I'd like to mention that it took me around 1 to 2 weeks to graduate from my previous cohort. I would attribute the climb in rating solely to tactics and opening principles. Game's definitely getting harder, which makes me super excited. Nice. I like to hear it. And I think we've graduated Rora before. All right. So, activity. I have a feeling we're not going to see any games because we got all this stuff going on. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. And when did Rora join? That's interesting to me. Very recent. So Rora's already graduated twice. You know? Graduated twice. Let's look at a game or two. No games. So, you know, one thing I'm seeing is that if you were going to make progress in the under 1,000 cohorts, I guess I'm going to say it's the only place you could make progress without really studying your games. I shouldn't even say that to people. I shouldn't even say that to people. But right, so much, in fact, the key struggle, and I write this in this little thing I'm doing, the key struggle of the under 1,000s is not hanging stuff. That is the key struggle. And it's not necessarily a given that it's some easy thing to overcome. All right. That's Rora. We're going to see Rora again soon, I think. And now we got Harper Elmo. It's hard to pick just one aspect of the program as the most helpful. My improvement has come from internalizing and applying the opening principles presented in the training video opening principles. Great. The training structure has helped me internalize the principles. Thank you. Longer games, game analysis, avoidance of spending time trying to learn openings have all contributed to a deeper understanding of the principles. My friends, let me stress this point. If you learn a bunch of openings while you're beginning your journey in the under 1200, you will lose the ability, the chance, the opportunity to really get it in your head of what principles are. It's something you end up feeling after a time, intuitively. This has not only improved my chess, but also makes the game more beautiful and interesting. I have not been able to consistently practice or even play due to difficult life events that took precedence, but plan to re-engage and look forward to more improvement. Difficulties with the training program are finding cohorts willing to analyze games, right? Navigating Discord, right? Perhaps these are related. I am getting along in years, recently turning 70. Learning new interfaces, not so easy anymore. Baus, I'm 50, I feel it, despite my professional years as a software developer. I believe I've entered a phase of life in which practice will not have quite as many competitors for my time. Great. Okay. Thank you, Harper. This is great, man. And you have a cool life goal to try to make the 1,000 cohort, Get out of Plato's cave. Build classical and period guitars. That means he's a luthier. He's a luthier. And I just realized that we have, a famous old chess player named Joe Lautier. Now, is that right? Am I spelling it? I know. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. Anyway, that's the guitar maker. So, let's take a look. Okay, and we're going to go back one. Great. Tactics. Looking good. Games. Also looking good. Yeah. Everything's in there. I can't stress. Postmortems, so great. Blunder games, great. Cohort games, good. Games played, games annotated. Great. Okay, that's the non-dojo time frame there. Okay, let's look at some games. No games. Ooh. Harper, I would say this. You got a great chance to make 1,000. That would be a life goal achievement. And analyzing some games, I think, is a key to getting there, but also to enjoying chess. What you were saying, it really appealed to me. Like, you can really understand the beauty of chess now that you've got the principles, and now you have the chance to write it out in some analysis. Okay, good. Boom. So, my friends, now we got to go to the next one. Now it's a little bit of a bummer for me because now when I go back, I'm going to have to always scroll through. I have to ask Jack if there's some way for me to easily get there. Now we got Ripshin Desk. We're going to read this here. Been in the dojo since the start of the year, but I took a break for a few months after a huge classical tournament in April. Was working on my chess, playing a lot of OTB, analyzing them to an extent. Back in Dojo 1.0, I definitely did a few of the middle game and endgame sparring positions, but I think they've changed. I think part of Silman's endgame book and How to Beat Your Dad at Chess were around my level 2, which I've sunk my teeth into and put in the non-dojo work. I really think Silman's endgame book should be put earlier in the program, especially if you expect stuff like double bishop mate at this level. It explains key endgame ideas very well and should be valuable to this cohort. Bask in the glory of my huge white pie chart. I will happily admit to being an opening enthusiast. Shame. And while I basically play the same stuff, I find value in knowing my lines deeper and trying to understand my middle games. It really helped my recent over-the-board tournament, whereas getting winning position out of the opening against 14 and 1500s. Okay. Right. So, talks about some maiden twos. Good. All right, we're going to check it out. So, you know my opinion. He knows already that I'm going to say something nasty about studying openings, but I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. Now, that's a pretty good graph right there. And mentioned playing a over-the-board tournament. I think we have Australian ratings as an option that we can link to. And let's take a look at the activity here. Oh, yeah. Non-dojo, buddy. But first, we're going to go back one. And there's a bunch of non-dojo. Look at that. Yusupov series, all this stuff. Yep. Okay. 276 hours. Now, dude is working. Dude is working. Now, it would be over 1,000 if they hadn't been focused on all that openings. How to Beat Your Dad at Chess is fine. And we we had some questions about that book. And we might bring that. I think we moved it around for Dojo 2.0. So I'm going to expect some games and analysis. Let's take a look. We got one. This looks like a Central Coast League's Club Chess Club, Gosford Open. Okay, great. So, right now, again, I know you don't listen to me about the openings. That's fine, but I'm just going to put it in my own perspective. You got this position. Imagine you knew nothing. Imagine you knew nothing at all. The moves would be here and here if you knew nothing, right? That's what they would be, I guess, right? So here we go, E6. Good. Imagine you knew nothing. That would be the move. Now here, if you knew nothing, the moves would be here, here, or here. Good. Bishop G5. And here you're like trying to remember something, and that makes it harder. You're talking about Queen A5. Queen A5 looks like a good move, yeah. If I was white, that would be the thing I would be most concerned with, would be Queen A5. Okay, so Knight C6, Knight E5. Now, why is theory not such a thing here? Because they're going to do stuff like this. They need to develop, and they're not developing. If you don't like the move, you should say what you think they should have done. I think CD would have been my first question about, like, well, maybe that's what they should do. Now, H6, let's read what you say. I wasn't sure what to play, and again was very reluctant to play Queen A5, so I decided to just put the question to white. Yeah, now I think your problem with Queen A5 is you're a little disturbed by Bishop D2, but then, like, the D4 pawns hanging and all that stuff. So here we go, H6. And now, of course, Queen A5 is even better because there's no Bishop D2. Okay, castles. Bishop D3. Again, a poor move. Hanging D4 at this point. Good job. Knight G4. Interesting. And then we just go back. Good move. DC. Fine. Now you're doing grand. Rook D8. Yeah, great chess. Great chess so far. Your time looks great. And at this level, they're going to give you material, and they're going to give you time. I like Rook D8 a lot. So I like your... One thing that's really interesting, too, about your evaluation is I think at the under 1,000 level, maybe it feels correct that it's only a small advantage. To me, it feels like you're winning. Okay, but that's, it still takes a lot of skill to show that this position's winning. H3, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. At least try Knight E4, right, Mr. White? That wasn't it. Why aren't we playing Bishop D7? Right? Get religious about the development and the opening principles. We'll go here next. Now, do you have to calculate Knight E4? Yes, you do. But you're on top of it. Next, we come here. Okay. Strange. Very strange. Just bad. Thank you. And now B5 is fine. You could have also done Bishop C6. And now this is pretty good. Very nice. Very nice. Now we're just killing. Now the tactic that we got here is that they move the knight, and then we have Knight E2. And this is the way our games should look when we play this level of opponent, right? No, I like it because it's not okay. To me, a lazy move would be a one-move threat. This move, however, has two ideas. One to mate, obviously, but also rook to d3. Okay, rook d3. And the thing I would want you to see about this tactical position is now you got that bad boy. But I just realized something hilarious. Boom, boom, boom. And this is a trick that for a GM, it's a little delicious because it's very rare to be able to fork the rooks when they can't connect. So that would have been a possible downfall there. So, okay, you keep things simple. Fine. Good. Hunt that queen down. Good. Personally, I like rook d2. And then they just give up. So, you're doing great, right? Your tactics are crushing these people, and they're playing unprincipled moves. The reason that the theory isn't going to be so helpful, there's a couple of reasons, and I'm going to stress two things. The biggest thing is you're depriving yourself of principles when you do the theory, but also at this level, they're not going to do anything. You know, what are we talking about? They're going to play strange things. Okay, brutal smackdown. That's how I feel about it too. So good. I like that one a lot. I'm going to give a follow here. Definitely we're going to see Ripshen over 1,000 soon. All right. So, like I said, I got to find a new way to get to this one. We got thin line next. Thin line 69. That kind of rhymes. So 1051. Good. Matching. USCF. I like it. Here, I look down because I'm interested to see how they line up. It seems like the USCF ratings are lower than the other ones. So, again, I like it that when people use the over the board as their preferred. And we're going to give a follow. Now we're outside of 1,000 now, my friends. And what's happening here? I thought we just, oh, wait. I'm going to go here. Very good. And that looks like all games and analysis. Look at that. Look at that. We're going to find some games, my friends. Yeah. Very good. All right. Let's take a look. So this is thin line 69. Be cool if we found one. Oh, there's miscalculation. We had that. I saw a miscalculation, another game of them earlier. Let's take a look. 60-0 on ChessCom. All right. You're doing fine. Good. Okay. So, this move, DC4, is obviously spicy, but it is a possible move, I think. It's going to get hot. Here we go. E4, bishop b4, bishop g5, h6, snip, snop, and it looks like black should be worse, but only because of a space disadvantage. A3. And here maybe we should have taken the thing, just for the sake of time. Castles. Rook e1. Good move. And knight e2 doesn't look right to me. Okay, so spicy position. And, yeah. Very spicy position. And maybe I might even come around to the knight e2 move. I don't know. I don't like it, though, because we're in the way of ourselves. Okay. So one of the things I want to say about this kind of position is that, let's say you don't know openings, right? And this kind of, we did some frisky stuff. Basically what happened in terms of opening principles is we let them take that pawn on c4 kind of for free, with the developing move. So we spent a move on this move. They spent a move taking. Theirs was a developing move. Ours was not, right? And so that's why they're up a lot of time and have the center. But okay, let's say things go wrong. Fine, they go a little wrong. So you have a little bit of less space. And now they have to be very dynamic in figuring out how to deal with the weak pawn. And I have loads of questions here about what white should do. Maybe d5, maybe, it's a big question for white, but I'll tell you this, we're not afraid of that move. Bishop d7, okay, b4, I don't like that move. Why? It's not connected to time. What do you need to do? You need to put a rook here and then move the bishop out of the way, depending on which rook. Loss of time. Interesting. Weakening. Oh, definitely weakening. And a move that white should definitely consider now is knight f5. Probably winning. Probably just winning. Okay, so this is a key thing for you, is at least you got your rook now involved in the game. Good attempt. Just try to trade some stuff off. Now they kind of sort of fix your bishop. And they come here. You go there. And honestly, maybe you're alive. Maybe you're alive here. You don't deserve to be alive, I'll tell you that. But maybe you're alive here. Okay. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. King over. Pawn takes. Queen g5. Good. White might have won a pawn, but look, your bishop on c6 is a beast. And that wasn't it. Good move. Check to the miserable king. Pin to the miserable bishop. Toast to the miserable queen. Thank you very much. Okay. Good. Good. So one of the things I want you guys to see about this particular game is that white got this huge space advantage. This is the kind of thing, well, let's say you were doing some opening theory or whatever. You turn on the computer, it's going to say white's winning. But it takes a lot of skill from this position to play this right. If I was white, let's see, I guarantee you I would think for, well, let's just say for a while. And dude played that move instantly, knight e2. How many grads do we got to go through? It's 21. We're about halfway through. About halfway through, friends. So let's go back. Actually, I want to make sure I follow thin line. Yeah. Go recent, pop. And this is my complaint. I got to go over here and I got to go click every time. Okay, Kraai, stop complaining. Stop complaining. Next up, my friends, we had a person who's very active in our Discord, graduated several times, D-Lely. And you can see that's a lot of dojo belts right there, right? Okay. Watched the grad show a few days late, actually. Thanks to the folks in the Discord for reminding me. And here I am, boss. I'm going one level up. It was a quick stay in this cohort, 8 hours total, I believe. So I added only one annotated game. It actually was an incredibly fun 30-30. A 1 hour and 45 minutes crazy fight with some arrows, but also showing some progress in my thought process. Better work in time management compared to the game you picked in the last show. And overall, I was able to calculate more variations, but lacked in accuracy and maybe in visualization. Also had the pleasure to discuss it with my opponent in the post-mortem. Suggestion for the dojo: we need a profile section to introduce ourselves, or if we have it already, a more prominent one. I'm going to show it to you right now, D-Lely. I'm a 49-year-old data science professional working for a consulting firm based out of Bologna. Married, one daughter, two dogs. Okay, boss, wait, look, D-Lely, check it out. You click on it, and here you are. That's the profile, right? There it is. So anyways, that's our intention with the profile. And it is, by the way, if you don't have anything written, think about writing a little something. Just to me, it's a big deal. Like now, all of a sudden, I have a sense of who D-Lely is. It's great. D-Lely is an old dude like me, is what's going on. And D-Lely is, in contrast to me, is gaining a lot of points, man. Look at that, 297. Okay. So let's go and look at activity. And then, right, this last one was super fast. And D. Lely says they have one game. And so, by the way, D. Lely is clearly somebody who is going for it, right? And look at all those graduation belts they've got. They started way down low. So now we're going to look at one game. I'm hoping this is the one that D. Lely meant. Looks like, because it looks like it's a 45. I hope this is the one. Okay, so. Okay. This is fine to play ED5. And just from my own dogmatic standpoint, I think knight F3 is a simple move. Black can do all kinds of things then, but you were always up a tempo. Now you're not up a tempo anymore because pawn moves aren't developing moves. Also poor because, pawn moves are developing moves, and a move like bishop e7 or a better bishop b4 is I was going to say more consonant. Okay, bishop e3. Okay. Okay, you're developing. I'm not going to complain. Fine. Yeah. Good. And now you play queen b5. This is the moment, by the way, where you should say to yourself, I have a small advantage. Why? Because it's your move. Because this move, knight is better than that knight. And because your queen is already developed, right? So we're going to say you're up 2 tempi and you have the better knight. Now, that doesn't mean that this next move here you're making is an easy decision, right? But I think one of the rooks to c1 certainly speaks to me. I guess I kind of like this one, to have the option of maybe pushing. Sombrero! Buddy, where the hell have you been, Sombrero? We've been looking all over the dojo for you. Where's Sombrero? You know, and I got it, dude. Okay, let me tell you something. I figured out where Sombrero was. He was the dude. Now, Sombrero's got some fancy watches, and that whole Magnus thing, dude, boom, that's on Sombrero, man. He was the one who had the knowledge to get that dude his watch, you know, with the Magnus game. And it was disappeared right around the same time, too, man. It disappeared right around the same time. Sombrero, it's good to have you back. Queen b5. The dude should strongly consider queen b6 here. Rook fe1, good move. Rook e2, okay. Let's bring it on over bows, okay. Bishop d6, bishop g5, fine, fine. Snip, snap, a6, we're going back. Boop, solid play. Now, queen e3, interesting moment. Notice that what's happening here in a lot of your moves is you don't know what to do. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And queen e3 doesn't actually threaten anything, right? I still like your position better, by the way, because your knight on c3 is still better than d5, even though we kind of floundered it a little bit. A basic building move would be h3. Probably going to have to do that someday anyway, right? And in some ways, you could call it a developing move if you want, not only to get out of this business, but someday, maybe later, we'll go over here, you know? All right, let's see how it goes. Rook e8 happened. And by the way, queen 3, you're not threatening anything. So the advantage of rook e8 is, unless that queen sack works, that black gets to trade the pawns. Now, can we pause for a second here, Bows? Can we pause? Could you have played knight takes d5? No, rook takes e3. So that wasn't any good, Kraai. Let's look at this variation. Now, we do want to take just a second to look a little deeper, because you can win the pawn on d5 if you want. And if I was black in this position, I would be scared out of my mind. Okay, doesn't mean that white has a win here. It just means I'd be scared. Yeah. So I think knight d5 is the question. This, by the way, I'm not going to go too deep here, but I do want to say about this position that it's the kind of thing that if you studied it in your analysis, you could gain an appreciation of imbalances in the game. And from a prudence point of view, then rook e8 was just, there's no way that you needed to do that to yourself. For example, dude could have played h6 first and then rook e8, right? Didn't have to go down this dark road. All right, here we go. Queen d2, snip snap, h6, good move. Snip. Yeah, I would say bishop d2 looks the most reasonable to me. h3, okay. Bishop b4, knight d5. Now that's a fancy move, Bows. Okay, so one of the things that we want to talk about is when you played knight d5, let me guess what your idea was, first of all. That your idea was pop, pop, king h7, queen e4. That's just my guess. You have the variation here too. But look, dude could play bishop f8 right away. And that's even simpler for black. Because after knight e5, there's not even a threat. Okay. So one thing to talk about in the analysis is that you've been playing, kind of a slow maneuvering game. And then what you do here, I see a lot, is that somebody loses their mind. Because that's what knight d5 is. You're clearly losing your mind, D-Lelly. You're losing your mind, man. Okay. Check. Knight e5, queen c7, knight d7, queen d6. It looks like we're lost. Queen e6. How did you draw this thing, my friend? You drew it, I guess, because now we're down. We don't have that much time left. Yeah. This is the kind of game where black should be able to win this thing without any grief. Run, Forrest, run. Snip, snap, h5. How did this dude not... How did it happen, man? Oh, wait a second, Vows. Now, watch this, you guys. They each got time added to their clock. And so 30 seconds. Okay, let me. This is great. This is a really great example. So they were down to 0. Okay, this is pertinent to me too, because I'm such an old dude. I'm not used to playing with the increment. They get down to like 0 down here. Like they got no time over here. Break down. Here's the low point. Then they get time added and added and added, and then dude is playing crushingly fast. It's a completely winning position, and he's blitzing this thing out, not thinking about what's going to happen. And white lays a doozy on him here, man. G8 exclam, double exclam. Take that, take that. Ooh, buddy. That one hurt. That one hurt. Dang. Dang, dang. Ooh. Now here it is, like where you say good progress in time management. You know. There's where clearly you were going way too fast. That's a real spanker right there, huh? That's a real spanker. It's a good one. This could go into a book, my friends. This one could go into a book because right here, has it already become a touch spicy? Like you got to start thinking about queen f4 here. You know, you can't be doing the normal things anymore. Yeah, my boss. So maybe and this is definitely where in the post game, in the analysis afterwards, you need a variation to show how it works. Because, dude, yeah. Run, Forrest, run. That could be a variation that you have in your notes there. Something I'm yelling at people in this book that I'm writing, How to Analyze Your Games, is a lot of times we get to the end game and we forget that that's actually where the variations need to happen, like that variation. You got to find a way. Clearly, over here, you're winning, Baus, and then you have to find a variation that proves it. I'm sure there's more than one. That was just the first one that came to mind, right? Okay, good. Let's go back. D. Lely, congratulations. And I'm not going to complain about having to go back and forth. I'm not going to complain. Next up, we got Vivian. And Vivian has progressed many times. Follow Vivian. And there might not be anything going on here. It might be, well, we're just going to see. Do we got one? Nothing. So Vivian, I don't know quite what's going on, but I'm hoping I see you again with some games and some clarity about what's happening. All right, so here we go. Boom. Next up, we got, I don't know how to pronounce it. We're going to call it AJ. And there's AJ. Good. They just started. They probably just shadooed themselves into this cohort. That's what I'm guessing. But we do have some games. And good. That's a good breakdown. And we're going to go with games. And this is AJ over here. Okay. And it looks like AJ is black. Okay, now the videos from Naroditsky are already haunting us. Okay, so D4, Knight C6, poor move. Yeah, something like Knight B3 or Bishop E3 has got to be called for. Trading the queens would be fine, by the way. But okay, this is fine too. Queen B6, Queen F3. I don't like Queen F3 because, well, maybe it's not so bad. I guess I would have preferred Queen C2 because then we're at least controlling this pawn, protecting this pawn. Spicy, very spicy. In general, doesn't look right. And I can tell you now, it doesn't. That's not right. Okay, good move. And maybe I should add that when you see your opponent do something as unprincipled as that, you can start thinking about cracking it all the way open. And here again, white definitely has to take. But then they're just like, no, time. I don't need any of that stuff, dude. I don't need any of that stuff. So here, this is definitely our call for playing D5. Okay? And you can just, if you're worried about the pawn, forget about it, boss. This dude, if they take it, they're going to get ripped open on these two files. Ripped. And I'm going to say white's lost in this position. Lost. Okay, so here it comes. H5. Check to the miserable king. H5 is terrible, allowing knight e5. Ooh, and I don't like that move. I do. What am I saying? It's a discovered check, Baus. It's discovered check. Thank you for all your coconuts. Wait, AJ, how'd you lose this game, buddy? What happened? Oh, So AJ was saying, hoping for a mate there on the A file, and then there was no mate. And then we got to do this. Are we still absolutely winning? We are, but it's a little scary now. AJ, here it would really help to see your times, because it feels like, that you celebrated, and then all of a sudden, you're toast. So one of the couple things about this, you're clearly winning. Let's put it in. We'll say you're clearly winning this position, and this is the moment where we want you to give us some variations about, like, hey, here's how I should have put this person away, right? So, like, for example, already here, you're making me nervous. Do I still think you're doing great? I do, right? But you're making me nervous. So you could say, let's give a variation about GH, for example, right? Well, maybe that's the move, right? And we could even say, oh, I was afraid of Rook H3, but Queen E1 was mate, right? Those are the kinds of variations that we could talk about. Okay, so, ooh, that one hurt. That one hurt. Now, one of the great things about the Dojo database is precisely that you put these games in. There was an interesting confusion with the cohort games. Somebody wrote in, they were like, Kraai, some of these games, people are blowing it. And I'm like, yeah, that's what real chess looks like. This is what it looks like. And this is why, we put it out there, we publish it. And, right. Again, then we come to this stage of the game. I know you're still winning, but you need to be thinking about it. And Queen B6 I don't think it threatens anything. So here we need a variation where we talk about how we can get at the black pieces, the white pieces. Now I'm going to take it back, because I said I thought black was still winning. Maybe. We got to stress the maybe. But here's the variation I would give. Rook here, G5. And it's spicy, my friends. Queen takes, bishop G6, Rook H7, Queen E5. I don't know. I don't know. We're clearly talking some talk here, right? I don't know. This is the kind of variations we need to look at. Whew. All right, let's go back. AJ, great, dude. I'm going to follow you here if I haven't already. Boom. All right, good. So, doop. That was AJ. Now, J Poker Flat, who I've looked at their profile before. I think the quick graduation is based on the fact that I did a huge break from chess before entering the dojo and only played a couple games in the near past, which lowered my rating. The initial cohort assignment might be a bit too low, but I'm happy to repeat and drill the topics I already know. Okay, good. So, right. Now, I think they made it, and then they unmade it. They made it, and then they unmade it. Maybe, probably, it looks like the last couple days since they graduated. That's fine. All right, they're up there now in the next one. We're confident they're coming back. So, activity. Let's see how they got here. Loads of endgame. Maybe just a touch of games. Looks good. Let's look here. J Poker Flat. I might have looked at this when I probably didn't. This game was played yesterday. This is probably how J Poker Flat lost their rating. Okay. Okay, so what happened here is that Poker Flat was prepping against their opponent, and they had done several things here. One thing I'll say about this move C5, I covered this in my aggressive repertoire for white, is that, you're playing now, you're going to try to get everything. You're trying to get the French with the bishop outside the pawn chain, and you're going to get C5. And White should focus on blowing the position open. So, and DC5 is the easiest path to a nice position for white. So knight F3, boom, boom. Now you play knight C6, and I'd rather see E6. But all right, let's look. Knight C6. And now, boom, they threw that at you. That's at least a good monkey wrench to get you with. Okay, what's the problem? You're not developed. E6, that's, dude, quality move. Quality move from Transu here. And maybe they knew the other variations in the other lines I give in the aggressive repertoire, because that's a key idea in the tall variation, the one with H4. So I'm not sure about knight G5 though. I was thinking maybe more like bishop B5 or knight C3. Just to say that, because here's the interesting thing. The bishop on F5, E6, excuse me, is a liability. It doesn't want to be there. And now knight G5 is like, please move your bishop. So now you're doing fine. Move the knight again against the opening principles. Leaving the bishop on E6 works against my plan to not let my pawn structure have been destroyed. Therefore, I have to move it again. Good. Good annotations. And now you're just golden. Yeah. Now, does white have an advantage? I don't know why they would have an advantage here. Just play bishop B7 and castles. Yeah. Yeah, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. And notice, white is having real grief dealing with the knight on B1. All right, now you got in his face with knight E4. Probably not a bad move. I would also want to investigate A5 here. That's terrible. And it's not only that he loses the exchange, but those pawns kind of are chumps over there, and the knight is still not developed. It's hard for me to imagine that queen D7 is a bad move. Good. Okay. Well, things are getting a little weird. Things are getting a little weird. Things are getting a little weird. Now, it's white's moment that if they're going to hurt you, they need to think about something now. And I don't know, maybe they just don't have anything. But that isn't it. That isn't it. Good. Shouldn't worry us. First, we'll start with that good move. Rook B5. Okay. You can be more aggressive here, too. I think Rook B4, and they're totally... Oh, excuse me. They're totally shut down with Rook B4. Ooh. We lost it, buddy. And then Rook A3 shows engine analysis. So wait a second. Let's go back here. First of all, I was a chump because I was missing that Rook B4, you get cut with C4. You are completely winning this position, okay? So you need, right here, to look at the game and be like, how do I find the win? Okay? And I can tell you we're going to find it. Easiest path, boom, queen B4. Tag, tag. Right? So things went wrong here because when you're talking about Rook A3, I mean, their things are already getting a little loopy, right? They're getting a little loopy. So we made a mistake already. That's definitely a blunder, right? Bishop, queen, and now you say Rook E2 is a quality. Maybe it's a quality. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of liking that C-pawn. Now, this guy's just trading everything off. That can't be it. That can't be it. Why can't we take a coconut here? Isn't there a coconut? Do we got a coconut here? I don't know. That looks like a coconut to me. So, for example, you go pop, and this ain't it, because we go check to the miserable, pop to the acropolis, pop in Nicodemus, and then that's a pound. Okay, so, no bueno. Rook d4. They're missing just something obvious, I think, with queen takes e5. Okay. It looks like you're in deep time pressure here, too. Right? Yeah. There's a time pressure situation. Okay, Transu, gotcha. Check to the miserable. Bummer. Okay. So, there we go. You're going to get there, poker flat. Yeah, that was a bummer because you were crushing this fool. Oh, don't call him a fool, Baus. Don't call him a fool. All right, you're going to get there, poker flat, for sure. So, let's go back. Pop. And then we got the next one. And now we got THIB. Looks like someone maybe just getting here, putting themselves into the next one. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. So they just joined. We'll see THIB again soon. Okay. So next up, we got brother. I think also maybe performative here. Performative, I mean, you just got to the dojo, you weren't sure which cohort you're supposed to be in. You know, like that. That's what I mean. Not meant as a negative thing. Right. So that was performative. And let's see. I gotta do this again. Now, this one looks substantive. We got OPSI. That's a great rating graph. Look at that thing, buddy. Look at that. So they've been with us for quite some time. Yeah. And that's a beautiful graph. Looks like their first graduation. I mean, that looks like hard work is what that looks like. I'm going to follow OPSI. And we're going to look back 15, 16. They've done 100 hours of non-dojo books. Okay. And let's just click around here for a second. Simple chess, reassess your chess, great. Some end games, good. Some tactics, looking good. 566 Polgar mates. Chess tactics from scratch, okay. Yeah. That's looking good. Let's see if we got a game. We do. So I don't know which one to pick. Let's try this one. Good. I had a feeling this was the OTB game. So it's the first round of German Amateur Championship in Group F. Nice. Qualified. Okay. So let's take a look. Little weird, right? C3. D6, D4, and now you're already doing great. Now, by the way, like, one thing that's interesting about this kind of thing is, does it help you to know that it's called the O'Kelly variation? Maybe, but if black's going to play like this, you're just golden. You have a beautiful, nice advantage. What's the drawback of taking? Now your knight gets to go to C3. So you're doing awesome. Beautiful space advantage. Definitely looks like a mistake. Definitely looks like a mistake. Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking for a second here. All right, so one of the things I'm writing about in this little treatise on how to analyze your games, which is really all about looking at you guys' games in the database, is something I've noticed is that the higher we go, the more variations there are. So for example, here you do a great description of why you did A4. But now I think it's a tactical moment to ask ourselves, does e5 win? Before e5, maybe black could have played knight g4, but now there's no knight g4. So the problem is there's definitely no takey-takey because of eggs and bakey, as they say. So the person she is going to have to move her knight. Does it have any great squares? First of all, no. So next question, we go here, and then right away, maybe it's not the end of the world all the way, but it's certainly painful. We got some real pain going on here. So that's the kind of variation I'd want to see. And it makes sense that we're up in time, we have the center, we should be able to push black around. A4 is a little odd in that the queen had no business on b6 in the first place, right? Poor, 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 right? But black had to at least try to play e5. Boom, good. Now maybe we play e5. Okay, we're getting positional. Good. And what's happened? Black has gone completely passive, right? And I love that move. Look at that. Not only is your bishop lighting up onto the rook, but that rook is done. Absolutely done for. E6, rook c7. Good move. Really nice that you get to play this position, I want to say, because it gives you a practical example and feeling of what domination looks like. They want to trade? Fine. We'll trade. In this position, I would say it's great to just say to yourself, I want to trade every piece of black's that's not this rook. Right? Everybody else is going to go. Good move. That doesn't really help. Boom, very nice. Thank you for all of the coconuts. Yeah, yard sale. Great, dude. Oopsie. Well done, man. Well done. The 1,000, 1,100 is already done. Yes. Now, if you guys ever join late, we have the VOD, the video on demand, plus and that's stored for like 2 months. If you want to see earlier graduation shows, we have a second YouTube channel called ChessDojoLive. Check that one out for all the old shows. Okay, Oopsie, doing great, man. I like it. So, we're following Oopsie. Nice. So, all right, great. I think we have we have 2 more, I believe. I have 2 more. And I'm going to have to double click on the next one. See, because I got this to 20. And first we're going to go Sunbeam Smiles. My starting OTB rating was 1723. Dang. That's pretty next level. 1723. So there's the 1723. All right, Sunbeam Smiles. Activity, we're going to go back 1. Not too much work. Maybe also not too many games here. We got 1. So, first Sicilian Games. I found it, this is interesting to me. Found it easier to comment in my native language, but using Google to translate the page to English should work well to read along. Okay. First mistake. I was late to the game that I was playing. I began, therefore, with 10 minutes left. The opening theory proved I can't read that one, but I got pretty good. That was pretty good, right? You guys gonna give me props for reading that, right? Okay. I don't know. Let's see what we got. Okay. Wow. So I can read German, and so these other Scandinavian languages, sometimes I can kind of get in there. All theory so far, good. Pop, C3, good. Bishop G5, good. So let's keep going. These are good notes, by the way. I don't have any problem that this person is doing in their native language. It's arguably a little weird because then people in the dojo aren't going to be able to appreciate it. And right, knight c2 looks like a mistake. And here's the thing that it's really important to understand why, though. The problem with knight c2 is the whole idea, let's say, of this thing White's doing is to create a situation where we dominate the light squares, and in particular this bad boy. But if you let Black trade the knight on d5, then first of all, that square is gone for you. And second of all, then this knight doesn't know where to go anymore. Doesn't know. Now, I would have also wanted to analyze bishop takes. The thing about knight takes is, I'm sure Black was thinking, well, I've heard that bishops are better than knights. Yes, they are, but you know what? Also, it's cool tempo. So you're losing time when you take on d5 with the knight. Queen b6. Now, something I can tell what's happening here is you're using the computer and it's telling you things like inaccuracy, castles was best. But we know why queen b6 was played. Queen b6 is all about making knight c6 not such a good thing. Then when you criticize rook e1, then the only way to play that move is to see the epic tactic that I might have missed myself. First of all, bishop g4, good move because we want to trade on a positional level. We want to trade the light square bishops so that our knight has something to do. But then you got to see what, here we got this. That's a computer variation, I'm guessing, right? And so the computer is it's tricky to use in our annotations. So neither player saw that. Now we get this, and now it's just bad news. Right? Now it's just bad news. By the way, one key thing to see here, why White's position is poor, is Black could get that same position with castles, right? We will get f5 in at some point, and knight b6, I don't think gets to stay. Okay, so here we go, like here, queen b6, for example. So we're going to say bishop d4 was a bad move. And that computer's killing you again. What's cool about knight c6? What's cool about it is you say, oh, I'm going to give a pawn. And I don't think Black should even take that thing on c6. But the idea is I got to activate the knight. So let's just lay it on the line there. And even if they win the pawn, okay, eventually, then I will have bishops of opposite color and maybe some juice on the light squares. Hard to know where that thing is going. Maybe unnecessary to play g6, but okay. Now, this is funky. And here's where the computer's killing you, because you need to try to understand, like, well, why would f4 be wrong? f4 is funky because look at it. He's got two bishops. One controls the dark, one controls the light, okay? But you have a potential extra piece on the light squares. You've got nothing against the dark squares. So if Black is going to move any pawn at all, it should be the one that's on the opposite square from his unopposed bishop. And that's a real beast of a move, see? Because now the bishop controls the dark and the pawns control the light. This thing no lo puedo comebaco, you know? But Black didn't even have to do anything like that. Could have waited. And now you should start thinking about what you did. Bishop g4, good. Now you're back in the game, boss. Now you're back in the game. Okay. Good. Okay, e1. Okay, that's also probably okay. Fancy. Well done. Very good. Okay. passive defense on the king side, I didn't like very good, or something like that. So, I'm with you that you shouldn't be passive, okay? You should be thinking about crushing him on the king side. And I think a good variation to look at. Why? Because your knight's so awesome now. You did a great job in turning your knight into a beast. That would be interesting. But it doesn't work because of pop, 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 unfortunately. Right? So we need an idea of how to organize G3. The good news is this person doesn't really have any great moves to do against us. On King H1, we can't really do it because of Bishop F2. Rook A D1 followed by Rook D3 looks pretty good, though, I'll tell you that. Okay, they can't double. That's how cool this knight is. A4. Mistake, Rook C8 was best. Now, by the way, what probably happened is, you put this into the Lichess thing and just automatically did it. It's a real bummer with Lichess. I might say did it, I mean, you turned it into a computer gook situation. We know why you did it. You're going pawn hunting, not thinking about your king. So look, what you want to do here is you want to think about why it was a mistake on principle. So for example, at this position, your queen is great. And what are you doing? You're going on a pawn hunting journey. That's the narrative that you need to focus on. Also, you have a thing where you open the rook with A4, and now you're following through on that intuition. But there's, in fact, no easy way for the rook to do anything here. And that's kind of the bummer that's happened to us. So this is like an inertia mistake, right? You're following through on this G4. Now, maybe it's a mistake, but it's a very natural move to play. And then the computer wants you to play C4. That's also the natural move to play. Okay, and Bishop F2 was very clever. These are all natural moves, though. And now Queen A6. C4, E4. E4 is a very natural move. Rook B6, and then they lose their mind with Queen takes B6. Honestly, still kind of interesting. Okay, so I'm going to just say, Sunbeam, check it out. The computer is killing you, Baus. The computer's killing you. So you're missing the opportunity to be thinking about what's going on and then to do the tactics and the positions. So both plans and tactics, and the computer's destroying you. Knight D4 is a very human move. Okay, Sunbeam, you're doing great. It's clear what the work to be done is, right? Very clear. All right, I think we got one more to go. So, what do we got here? We'll go here, pop, and then we'll go here, pop. And there's one more, and that's, oh, this is performative. That's a performative one. So they just got here, and they don't have any work yet. Okay, which is fine. We're going to see K-Silent soon. Okay, you guys, great show. I'll be back next week. I'll be back before that too. Kostya's playing a tournament. We're going to cover some of his games this weekend, and we'll have other things going on. Now, Going to raid somebody now. Who are we gonna raid? Always so many people. Chess Dogs. I love that name. Chess Dogs. So, my friends, this is the moment of the show where I say, hey, if you haven't checked out the Chess Dojo Training Program, now